alone and you hear a knock, don't answer the door. That was my grandmother's one rule when she left me the family house. I thought it was just the rantings of an old woman. I didn't know how real the rule was until the other night. The house I inherited was deep in the forest, far from bustling city noises. Silence was the unspoken language here, except sometimes you would hear the owls. But the other night when I was sitting in the living room reading a book, that's when I heard it. There was a single knock at the front door. And then I remembered my grandmother's warning. If you're home alone and you hear one knock, don't answer the door. I looked over at my grandfather clock in the corner. It was midnight. I told myself that the knock was just a figment of my imagination. It was just the house settling, or a fallen branch against the door. But then it came again, a single solitary knock. But this time it sounded closer. I was panicking. I just stood there staring at the door. The third knock was so loud that it made the door rattle. There was no more denying it. Something was at the door. If you're home alone and you hear a knock at the door, don't answer it. This is part 2, so if you missed part 1, go back and watch that. The last thing I told you is I heard that knock. I held my breath, hoping that if there was something there, it would just leave. Minutes started to tick by, and then I heard it. It was so faint that part of me thought it wasn't even real. And I know you guys are dying to know what it said. Let me in. I was terrified, and that's when I remembered the attic. If I could make it up to the attic, there was a lock inside. As I ran up the stairs, I could hear the whispers growing louder. Once I got into the attic, I bolted the door shut. After a while, the whispering stopped. I didn't dare move. I didn't dare breathe. Minutes turned into hours, and soon the darkness of light started to turn into the morning glaze. I'm pretty sure Grandma's rule kept me alive. And now I fully understood it. The old house was not just a place of solitude. It was also home to something old, something terrifying. Whatever was on the other side was not of this world. So just remember grandmother's rule. Alone and you hear a knock, don't answer the door.